come over here. We've got some questions for you. I'm sure people are eager to find out more about the book and the writing process. So first of all, tell us a bit about your writing journey.
Well, I think as soon as I knew that books were written by people, so really basically as soon as I learned to read and write, I just knew I wanted to be a writer. I've always been one of those people, a kind of a Walter Mitty who has lots of stories running through my mind. I'm always wondering what would happen if, when I meet people I haven't met before, I try and speculate about them. I'm always sort of dreaming dreams about the future. So I've always got that kind of storytelling going on. And when I started telling people when I was a teenager that I wanted to be a writer, the advice was always, you need to read the works of great English literature. And that actually was a hardship because I loved reading, so I did an English degree and spent 3 years just reading. It was fantastic. But when I graduated, I thought, no, this is it. I'm now going to take this seriously. I'm going to start writing my first novel. But the decade in my 20s was actually quite a hard decade, and I had some heartbreak. And I came to the conclusion I just had to put those dreams aside and knuckle down, get a career, pay the bills. And so I put those dreams to one side and didn't really think about them until I married Graham. And I had mentioned to him that I once wanted to be a writer, and he kept on about it and on about it and on about it. But by then I had 2 young children, there was no time, I had no space to even sort of think about anything, until we got our dog in 2011. And we rehomed a Rhodesian Ridgeback. For those of you who know, they're quite large dogs, they need quite a lot of exercise. So I walk him every day for about an hour in the fields and parks around St Albans. And for the first time in many, many years, I just had an hour a day when I could look at the changing seasons, think about life, get into a rhythm of walking. I met some wonderful people, there's some dog walkers here, really stimulated conversations, and all of a sudden those creative juices started coming back. And when I got home, I would just jot down ideas, and while I was waiting for the kids outside school, I would jot down more ideas. And I didn't tell anybody, it was a secret. And at the end of 2 months, I had the first draft.
Wow.
And I then told my sister, who read it, and her husband read it, and a few other people, including Nadira, read it. And I got some encouraging comments. And then I thought, well, maybe I ought to really know what I'm doing here. So I enrolled in some creative writing classes. And then I discovered all the things I should have been doing, actually where to go, and the plotting and the characterisation. So I went back and did a really big rewrite, which is pretty much what we've got today.
Wonderful. So let's find out a bit more about the book then. So what is the book about?
The book follows the progress of a very shallow and materialistic young man called Vincent Stevens, who's lost his city job in the credit crunch. He's lost his high-flying career, his trophy girlfriend, his swanky apartment, and he has to go back home to Suffolk to live with his parents, which he's very, very fed up about, and is quite depressed, and he wants to get his old life back at any cost. He does not want to stay in this Suffolk village. And then he meets a mysterious girl from his past, and she makes him question the values of his life, and he remembers the boy he was and what his dreams once were, and she manages to just help him see a different perspective. So that's what the story's about. And is it you I'm doing the reading? I can't remember.
No, not yet. Not yet. Still lots of questions. Lots of questions. Yeah. What do you hope the book will achieve?
Well, firstly, I hope it is a really good read. I mean, Graham will tell you all the way through I was writing it, I was talking about reader experience. I want this to be a really good read because I know how I love to get lost in a book. That was my first priority. Second priority is I really wanted to raise some money for a charity, which is very, very close to my heart. And thirdly, I'm hoping that it will be a first step in a writing career, and that I will carry on learning. I've learned so much about the writing process and now the publishing process, and I just hope that's going to be ongoing and I can really produce some good books in the future.
Yeah. And you said obviously about writing the first draft in 2 months. I mean, that's extraordinary. But then you went on and did the creative writing. Could you just say a bit more about the writing process?
Well, how I write now is I don't really have I wish I did have a more organised writing life, but I have various other commitments, and so I tend to write, when I do actually get to my laptop, I write quite quickly, but that's normally because I've decided what I'm going to write well in advance. I think about what I'm going to say while I'm walking the dog, while I'm ironing, doing, household, making the bed. So by the time I actually get to my laptop and I've got an hour, I just throw everything at the page, and I keep going, and I don't look back. And then there are days when I'm not quite sure where the plot's going. I've kind of reached the end of my storytelling, and then I go back and I edit what I've done. So I've kind of got this forward and then back and then forward and back, and often by going back and reviewing it, it sort of clarifies the way for the next stage of the plot.
Now, just one more question before you read an extract. So, what is your favourite part of the book?
Well, my favourite part to write was when I was describing the winter landscape of Suffolk. I really wanted to capture that wide-skied, what can be quite a harsh-looking environment, but actually there is just a stark beauty in Suffolk. And I wanted to mirror that with how Vincent was feeling, how his depression and his alienation in this vast landscape. I really loved getting inside Vincent's mind. I purposely gave myself a male narrator to give myself some creative distance from it, and so it didn't just become a sort of me writing. I was putting myself into another character all the time, and I loved trying to get inside a man's mind. And then I was happy with the ending. The ending came to me, and the way it came together, I felt was satisfied me. The ending.
That's wonderful. Yeah. We're going to read a short extract.
Yeah, it's a short extract. I'm just going to stand here.